21st century apes. Watching them step to the alphabet and... Dukey?
Yes.
You know this song that I'm singing, this lovely, lovely song?
Yes.
With all the words in it?
Modern hits from our guests Adam and Elvis.
Yes, that's what I had a question about there, Dukey.
Irene, what would you like to know?
You know Adam and Elvis?
I do.
Dukey,
Yes.
do you think it's the real Elvis?
No. What, Elvis Costello? No.
No, the real Elvis.
Was there an Elvis before
I
Elvis
don't know
Costello?
who that Costi guy is, but you know the real Elvis.
No.
You know, the one with the burgers and the dying
No.
in the toilet and all that
No.
carry on. You don't think he's come back, do you?
No.
Just between you and me, Dukey.
Yeah.
Yeah, be honest with me.
I will, Irene.
Has he come back and been in your studio, Dukey?
No, the Burger King has not been here.
Okay, what a shame.
Indeed.
What a damn shame, that's all I'm saying. I mean, they're still lovely boys. It's just...
They are. A lovely couple of Berkshire lads.
It's just, I was going to open, it was the real.
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to feel something. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
It's the Dukey Radio Show. Hello. With me in the studio, Sylvia Silversmith.
Hello, everyone. And I'm sorry, I'm eating a banana.
Oh, excellent. Well, a fantastic source of potassium.
It is, if it doesn't go particularly well with recording a podcast. Because eating and recording a podcast should be mutually exclusive.
This is true. Did you know that our simian cousins
Yes.
eat bananas differently from ourselves?
Do they?
They start from the bottom.
Do they peel them?
Yes.
They do.
Apparently, it's the way we should be doing it. We should follow our simian inhabitants on this planet.
Well, it's too late for this one, but the next time that I eat a banana,
Yes.
and I'm on a one banana a day diet.
Right. Well, that's all you're eating for
No,
the whole
that's
day.
not all I'm eating.
Oh,
I'm
you're just restricting
making
your...
sure that I'm having a banana a day in
Right.
addition to everything else that I eat.
Brilliant.
I will try peeling it from the bottom.
Indeed, your whole world may change for the better.
And I'm sure the listeners will just be waiting with bated breath to find out how that goes for me.
Indeed, yes.
Yes.
We will
Okay.
have a separate section of
yes.
future Dukey radio shows dedicated specifically to improvements in your banana consumption.
To the banana peelage.
Absolutely. With me in the studio as well, Marsha MacDonald.
Yeah, what up, peeps?
You sound a little bit lackluster, Marsha.
It's hot.
It is hot. There's a lot of weather out
It's
there.
hot and it's been a long time, Dukey. Been a long time.
It has been a while.
Stuff's been happening.
Loads of stuff has been happening up and down the country. Marsha, you yourself have been travelling to the far reaches of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I've been around and I got a new friend.
Tell me more.
Well, Dukey, you put us in touch. So I got a new friend and one of your guests that you've had on the show.
Oh, yes, the
The very wonderful
Debbie Smith.
Debbie Smith. And I think, yeah, she's great.
Absolutely.
She's very funny.
Exceptionally funny.
She's very funny.
Funny, witty, brilliant guitar player. Looks
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What more do you want in
It's
life?
just, it's one of those 21st century friendships in that we haven't actually, met in real life yet, but online, it's fabulous.
I had the pleasure
So shout out to Debbie.
Here. I had the pleasure of meeting with her a few weeks ago for drinks.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to report that Debbie Smith will be joining us in the Dukey Radio Show studios very, very soon.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
And a band who joined us here at TDRS HQ,
Yeah.
Adam and Elvis. a brilliant group.
You said they were pretty cool.
They were absolutely brilliant, lovely lads. And I met them through a gig that I was going to, not specifically to see them, at a venue called The George in the East End of London town. And I absolutely loved what I heard. And when they were done playing, I handed my Dukey radio show business card to the band's singer.
As you do.
Pat.
Yes.
And he told me off pod that when he received the card, he assumed that I was a therapist offering my services to him.
Dukey, why did he think you were a therapist?
Perhaps he feels that he's in need of one. Also, the back of the Dukey Radio Show business card, there are other business cards, has the phrase, "Let's talk," which...
Oh, well, that must have been very disconcerting for him.
Indeed.
To have this complete stranger coming up and kind of making out like, I think you need a little bit of my help.
Hey, let's talk. I'm really worried about some of your envy, some of your penis envy issues with your other band members.
Yes, you appeared from the stage to seem to have some issues. Maybe you have a bit of an Oedipus complex or
Indeed.
something like that.
I think you might have an Oedipus complex. We need to talk about this. How's you been?
How long did it take him to work it out?
About a week.
A week?
I think he may have been a little bit conflicted
Oh,
about
no.
reaching out.
That must have been a long week. The whole week you're going around telling people, or not telling people, but thinking to yourself, shit, man, this guy obviously thinks that I got a need for a therapist, and what? Well, then how did he work it out?
I think he may have Googled
Okay.
the show and then realised that probably if anybody needs a therapist, it's me. So
That
it's
is
all
probably-
good.
You know what would have been really funny, though, Dukey? If you had set up the studio to have like a little Freudian like psychotherapy couch in it.
Which it kind of does now.
It does a little bit. And then you sat at one end in an easy chair, just being very, very quiet with your fingers pressed to your chin thoughtfully.
Indeed.
That, just completely freak him out.
Oh, I would have liked to have done
And then
that.
start asking about his relationship with his mother and whether he breastfed or not.
And the fact that his brother is his co-partner in crime and indeed his co-guest on the show might have added a unique element to that therapy session.
Dukey, I was in your house, so I met them very, very briefly. And what interested me most, they seem like very nice people. And what interested me mostly about their coming to your studio was the one thing in your house that really impressed one of them.
The dog.
No, not the dog.
Oh,
Yes, the one thing because
Pat
you're...
indicated that he's not a dog person. He
Yes.
got on very well with Molly the Spolly,
No, but
the
you-
Dukey radio show dog.
I think listeners need to know that your house, within your house, there are many wonderful and interesting things.
Thank you.
And lots of people comment on, you have a collection of masks,
Yes,
which is a good word for me,
absolutely.
along your stairs.
Correct.
So and I love your masks hugely. I feel like when I've been over here dog sitting for you, like when it's just been me and Molly in the house, I feel like all of your masks look after me.
Oh,
Like some people might think that they're a little bit creepy, but I think they're like these masks are all looking out for me and they have my back. So lots of people mention those and maybe one of them did. But and you also have lots of neat things, like you have your guitars on your walls and stuff like
Yes.
that. But there was one thing in particular in your house that impressed this lovely young man muchly, and I thought that was very interesting.
in addition to Molly the Spolly.
Yes, something in your kitchen.
Oh, yes. Tom, the bass player, producer, co-writer of Adam and
Right.
Elvis, noted
Yes.
my crock pot, or slow cooker, as
Wow.
he called it.
Rock and
he
roll.
said something along the lines of, ooh, slow cooker. Nice one.
Wow.
And having had an episode of the Dukey radio show called The Slow Cooker Revolution.
Yeah, a crack a shit pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, deeply honoured, and I realise
That's
how
a big honor for
how
you.
middle class
Yeah.
both the band and myself are.
Here's the question, though, Dukey. Have you been using it? Because, these things are like, whenever somebody buys like a new kitchen equipment, right? And then you go through you have this big flurry of using the fuck out of it, right?
Yes.
And then at some point, it just, enthusiasm wanes and it never gets looked at again.
The crock of shit.
So where are you at in that trajectory?
Oh, the love affair is still very strong.
He's making himself porridge.
Yes.
Aren't you?
Yes.
How do I know that? Because when I came over to watch your dog when you were out,
It smelled beautiful.
it
Cinnamon,
smelled beautiful,
apples.
and you said help yourself to some slow cooker porridge, and I just thought,
Actually, I think I said crock of shit pot porridge.
and I thought at 3:00 on a July afternoon when it's 90 degrees out, porridge wasn't sounding too good to me, but it did smell really nice. Did it come out nice?
It's absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
Apple and cinnamon, I believe.
Apple, cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg.
Wow, rock and roll.
And Irish oats.
Irish oats.
Indeed.
How are they any different to other?
47% more mystical.
Okay, I like it. That's a good answer. That is a good answer.
I've also done minestrone in it. I've done macaroni and cheese. I've done...
Okay, wow, it's all getting pretty
Yes,
middle
veggie
class
chili,
in
yes.
here. Okay.
Oh, and a number of breakfasts.
You make breakfast in a slow cooker?
Yes.
Have we talked about this before?
We have on the episode
yeah,
entitled
yeah.
"The Slow Cooker Revolution Will Not Be Televised." I'm not going to go back there again.
I'm yet to see how that works out for you, but, good luck.
Imagine that it's the wee hours of,
Yeah.
that post-midnight, pre-sunrise,
Yeah,
just got home,
yeah.
and, you're going to have a little bit
Haven't
of water.
had one of those in a while, but
and you're thinking about the inevitable hangover
Right.
that you're going to experience by the time you do wake up.
Okay.
That's when you put in the ingredients. You time it in such a way that the food will be ready and piping hot and delicious
Dukey,
by the time you rise.
if I'm out partying that hard, I'm like, you got a McDonald's up the road. What are you, Nigella? I mean, she used to come home like on her show.
Thank you, by the way. That is a compliment.
Well, yeah, I mean, big up to the Nigella. She's great. I'm just like, on her show, it would be like, oh, she's arriving home at 2 a.m. after a big party and she's kind of drunk, but she's going to make herself cheesy souffle for breakfast or for brunch. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Go to McDonald's like a normal person.
Tom from Adam and Elvis is a McDonald's fan, and
Yeah, well, aren't we all?
his favourite word, which we normally, have guests introduce themselves
Yeah.
as, so you get used to the voice,
Yeah.
was wretched, and based quite heavily on his McDonald's diet. So
has a
make of that whatever you want.
Got a McDonald's diet. I like it.
Indeed.
I like it a lot.
McDonald's and alcohol, basically.
Dukey, can I just ask one question to get this back on a rock and roll vibe?
Yes.
You went to a gig recently,
Yes.
and I went to this gig with you,
Yes, and somebody else.
and somebody else accompanied us.
Correct.
Now, did you want to say what that gig was?
Cheap Trick at the Forum, and Irene
Irene
was
with us.
singing along.
Yeah, I can't believe you guys. I mean, I don't really know who they are. I mean, I know who they are, obviously, but you guys, really know who Cheap Trick are, right?
Marsha, they even did a great cover, not that night, but have done in the past, a wonderful cover of Cleveland Rocks, a song which mentions
Yeah.
your home state.
I like them. I like them a lot. You guys like them a lot.
I do.
I hold them in enormous esteem. I mean, Robin is a thing of wonder and beauty. And so is Rick.
And so is Tom.
And I always forget the bass player's name, but
Tom.
his name is Tom.
Tom Petterson.
And the drummer, who is Rick's son.
Dax Nielsen.
Now, 4 more amazing men have not graced a stage, in my humble opinion. But they are very wonderful. I mean, Robin, do you not just want to put him in your pocket and take him home and stick him on your mantle that I know you don't have? You don't have a mantle, and neither do I.
I want to create a mantle just so I can do that.
So I can put Robin on it. And Rick can be my dad. And should I just put all my cards on the table, Dukey?
Out with it. Come on.
If Tom came and knocked on my bedroom door, I would not say no.
He's a very good-looking man.
He is very lovely. But, I wouldn't say no to Robin either.
For men of their vintage, they look tremendous.
They're
And
so
also,
scrummy.
what's great is they're clearly loving it. Absolutely loving it. They are in
It was
seventh heaven on stage.
2 hours of fun.
Really,
Just
really
fun.
good.
And Irene was having fun.
I didn't realise she knew the Dream Police inside and out.
Dukey, it was almost embarrassing.
She was about 80 years old when that song came out.
Who was the oldest person there that night? Was it Irene?
Yes.
Didn't you guys have to stand the whole time?
Yes.
She brought one of those things that you buy when you're standing in line, like one of those like little canvas seats that you can set up, but then you fold it back down again.
Yes.
She very wisely had one of those with her. And Roy was waiting outside in his black cab to drive her home. He didn't give us a lift home, though, did he?
No. Basically, his argument, being a black cab driver, was he'd been driving all day anyway. Why should he be doing it some more? But he and Irene live in Bethnal Green, which is not that far away from where we live.
I know, Dukey.
In deepest Wapping.
Anyway, we all had a very good time. It was very marvelous. It was very, very marvelous. And they're just fun.
And talking of fun, Adam and Elvis, brilliant guests. Very funny, engaging people.
I was in your kitchen, and I just heard you guys laughing up a storm, and I just thought, that sounds wonderful. I want to be part of that. They sounded like they were just amazing.
Loads of laughter, loads of tension at times as well. Not with me and the lads.
That's good.
But being brothers and being in the same band in a non-Gallagher brothers type of manner. There were moments where you could really see them getting slightly frustrated with each other, and it was lovely.
That shows passion.
Really, they both love and care about what they do so much.
And a passion for a crock pot.
Indeed, which is a really, really good thing.
I think that's fantastic.
As Mark Maron has been known to say, let's get on with the show. With me in the studio, Adam and Elvis. Pat Malone, vocals and guitar.
My name is Pat. My favourite word this evening is doubt.
And Tom Malone. That's not just a coincidence on the surname front. They are brothers. Bass, backing vocals and production.
My name's Tom and my favourite word today is wretched.
Doubtful and wretched. Sounds like the name of a Scottish acoustic folk duo. Are you feeling a bit doubtful on the future? Is this your headspace just this evening?
I'm doubtful about the past, present and the future. I think that's the only intellectual way to be.
Does this have anything to do with your existentialist upbringing, perhaps?
Yeah, I wasn't aware it was existential at the time. I wasn't aware how lucky I was to be plagued with doubts, but now that I'm full of doubts, I feel gifted. You can go through life pleasantly unaware, having a great time, making love, buying houses, raising children, or you can go through life fully aware of what's going on, sweating at night, biting your nails, and I'm lucky to be the latter.
You're not negative about your outlook in terms of this whole conveyor belt of life, just merely doubtful about your place within it.
Well, I mean doubtful, not just in my own position, I mean about the small, intricate details. I think I probably got that from my granddad, to be kind of slightly aware of the dubious nature of lots of things that make up the greater picture, and the awareness that if you pull away one piece of the puzzle, you're left with not lazy puzzle of a puzzle that's not fully formed. You're left with a mess. Even one piece of the puzzle missing leaves us a mess, I think.
Wretched. So we've had doubtful and wretched.
Wretched.
Why wretched?
Because I was asked with a short amount of time to think of a word, and that was the first thing that came to my head.
Did you think it was a wretched request?
It wasn't a wretched request. It's just wretched. I automatically go to bad points over good points. Wretched. I don't feel wretched. I feel pretty good, actually, to be honest. But wretched is it's a nice word.
You can roll that R as I did earlier. Wretched.
That's your first thing to say.
I mean, could wretched also be your favourite word at the moment as we're here in the studio due to your diet today, which we were discussing off air?
My
roll.
diet is always pretty wretched. My diet is basically alcohol and bad food. Burgers. I'm like, I've almost had every burger in Reading, to be honest. Twice. I do a little thing. I always excuse. We can get another burger, and I'm like, well, I'm judging them all. I've just got to try every one, see what the best one is.
Assess their consistency from one night to the next.
Hope Tap in Reading is number one burger.
And is there a burger joint which stands out in your mind?
Hope Tap. It's a Wetherspoons in Reading.
Does Reading still have the
That's got nothing.
highest proportion of stabbings in the UK, or has that been usurped by, I don't know, Swindon?
Well,
or Slough?
we've got to understand the difference between stabbing and penetrations, but there's certainly a high number of both. Luckily, we've never been involved in either, or unluckily, depending on your viewpoint. But I've never encountered someone with a knife, and I think I'm a fair embodiment of the typical Readinger, so I think it's a pretty safe place to live.
So,
it's a safe, boring place to live. It's pretty good.
Berkshire is a fine county. I mean, you know.
So the thing is,
it's a Tory safe seat, so we don't want to talk about that.
Well, not all of it. But where we're...
Oh, no, that's right, actually. Was it East Reading changed?
Where we're from is very Tory. Like, actually, I didn't actually see another place that actually had as much of a gap between the Conservatives and second place. It's something like 56%.
Really?
Yeah, it's mental. And then like everyone else is about 15% between them, kind of thing. It's quite. It's early. It's where we come from is RG6. Is actually the most desired postcode in the country.
Yeah, I think it's important to know. Actually, I think you'll agree with me on this. We go on to. We've been on BBC Berkshire before, and they always ask us how do we feel about the Reading music scene and what is our place within Reading. And I know Tom will agree with us. It's not that we disassociate ourselves from Reading in such a way as that we ignore the benefits of living in Reading, but I certainly don't see any of our anything we hold dear to be unique to Reading. Everything we hold dear in Reading is something that they've incorporated from something that's come from elsewhere.
Right.
So the live music venues are kind of replicating those of London or other places in the world. I'm not saying I hold London up, by candlelight each night and kiss it, but go on.
Well, as I say, basically, in simple terms, we play a lot of gigs in Reading. We play a lot of gigs in London. In London, we see a lot of bands which are on our same wavelength. Like, they're trying to, it's within a pop genre, pop indie, but, they're trying to say things, trying to be a bit weird, a bit crazy. A lot of bands we play with in Reading, very, you feel like 60% of them have just listened to Oasis. They've never heard another band in their life, and they just go for it with Oasis. That's the problem. But the thing I always think about Reading is one of those things just like, I'm from Reading, I say Reading shit. Someone I don't know comes along as not from Reading. So Reading
of course.
Shit. It's mine to call shit. It's the other thing. It's home, but it is pretty pants.
You have an inherent civic pride when it comes to talking about Reading in front of non-Readingites.
Yeah.
But if somebody decides to have a go at the jewel and the crown of Berkshire...
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm aware...
Which is Ivor, isn't
I'm
it?
aware that I'm formed. I've taken part of my character. I've taken part of my character. That's fine. I've taken part of my character and shape from Reading. It's just that I've taken other parts of my character and shape from Reading. I'm not proud of all of it. When we get asked this thing, we're expected to give some blind loyalty towards Reading, and I think large portions of it is nonsense.
They say, Reading is now competing with London, which is absolutely garbage because it's not competing with. But the thing is, it's not trying to compete. Like it doesn't need to compete with London. Like what we do, which is what you call art pop, indie, it's pop but a bit weird, trying to do something a bit different. In Reading,
doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. To them, it's just like, well, there's this set of blocks. There's this thing. You do it this way. You play within that, and you think, oh, I don't really quite understand what you're doing there. You've got that with that. It's like, whereas every band we play with comes on with two guitars, a singer, a bassist, and a drummer, and they just strum out half-hearted versions of definitely maybe songs by Oasis.
Yeah.
Worse than
I'd say one thing right now. I think it's unfair to put so much of the blame on Oasis covers. There's a lot of Snow Patrol covers as well these days. We've got to move with the times. There's Snow Patrol. Who else is there? Well, they're Biffy Clyro. Biffy Clyro worth an Oasis. But
on the heavier end of things, you do hear a lot of Biffy and Clyro sound-alikes.
Biffy Clyro stuff like that.
I go to Sunny.
Yeah, but it exists there. You hear it as you walk past to a different bar, bellowing out the window.
I go there. Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a curse in a way. As soon as you leave London or large cities, and when you're touring up and down the country, you do see this phenomenon. You do arrive in a lot of places where it's still, for all intents and purposes, 1996 still.
But this is the thing. But the thing I've turned up here today, you're wearing a The t-shirt, which is something that I know Patrick likes a bit of. Me and Steve, the keyboard player, we love. But like the idea of meeting someone in Reading that likes that is just, it's not going to happen. Like we are like this little kind of, oh, I love that. You walk into London and someone's got a fucking that t-shirt on. You're like, what? I want that t-shirt, by the way. Where do you get that from?
This is the day your life will surely change. This is the day when things fall into place.
Soul Mining is a tremendous album. How do you feel about the other offerings? Mind
Well,
Bomb,
to be honest
Dusk.
with you, I haven't actually delved in deep to a lot of it. I listened to the Johnny Marr one, or one of the Johnny Marr. I don't know how many he did.
Mind Bomb and Dusk are the two he played on.
It was good, but it didn't hit me like Soul Mining did.
Did it mine deep enough?
No.
So, This Is the Day, to me, I just think one of the greatest fucking pop songs ever written. I think it's literally insane. Like, I love everything about that song.
Have you heard Manic Street Preacher's cover of it?
Yeah, I heard it actually the other day.
This is the day your life will surely change.
Me and Steve always joke, 'cause I used to really like Manic Street Preachers. They're one of the few bands that as I got older I realised I really don't like them anymore. But obviously,
Even
I
Holy
like the
Bible?
Holy
I
Bible.
thought
I
you
like the
liked
Holy
that.
Bible. I like the Holy Bible. But I massively despise their later stuff. But they're a bit like, it's a bit like Bono, right? Now I hate U2, and I find Bono really irritating. But he keeps turning up on all my favourite people's documentaries. Pixies documentary,
Yes.
Bono's there. Leonard Cohen documentary, Bono's
He's
there.
there.
Bukowski documentary, Bono's there. And Bukowski
Tom
at the
Waits,
end...
Tom Waits documentary.
Oh yeah, is he on Tom Waits?
Yeah,
as well?
he's on Tom Waits
Jesus
documentary.
Christ! And then even the Bukowski one, Bukowski's like crying at the end.
Oh yeah, Bukowski's last
'Cause
night alive,
Bono's-
second last night alive, was spent crying at a U2 gig because Bono.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
I've seen a documentary. I had
Yeah.
no idea about that.
Really, I must admit. That let me down first. I'll let you continue your conversation in a minute. That let me down first. But then I read... Have you read Hollywood by Bukowski?
I haven't, no.
Utter nonsense. That's when he's... Because he made that film, didn't he?
Are we talking about Barfly?
Yeah, Barfly. Who's the main...
With Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Was it
Faye
Rourke?
Dunaway.
Mickey Rourke's a young man. Very beautiful. And, before the surgery and before time took its hold. So he's playing a fighter in it who goes into these clubs. Have you seen Barfly, yeah?
I have.
And he goes into these fights and he gets a... Can we swear?
Swear all you
He
want.
gets the shit.
Cunting, yes.
Yes, he gets a shit. Hey! Sorry, Mum. He gets a shit kicked out of him every day, and he's doing it just to get a drink. And yet he turns up, and there he is. Sure enough, a slightly painted on black eye, but he's still, charismatic. He's still chiseled. And Bukowski said one of the things about this film is that when he walked into the bars, he would tell a joke, and no one laughed. And in the film, the character walks in and he tells a joke and no one laughs. And the director said, no, go back and do that again. That wasn't good enough. That's not going to make good cinema. So they made everyone laugh. And he thought, that's nonsense. That doesn't work. And it didn't work. And then Bukowski wrote a book about how it didn't work. But the problem about the Bukowski book about it not working is then you've got him going around making jokes about the people who made the film that it didn't work. And you just suddenly realise that if Bukowski isn't talking about really suffering and really, wanting things, he's absolutely rubbish. He can't be at that point where he's making a joke where he's got to be the subject of the joke. He's got to be making these statements where you realise how lucky you are not to be him. When he makes these statements where you think, actually, you know what? It's turned out all right for him. He's no good whatsoever.
That's like Jarvis Cocker, like Pulp, big Pulp fans. You Pulp fan?
Ah, huge. How can you not be? Jarvis
But
Cocker's
would
an
you
institution.
agree that We Love Life is a bit of a dodgy album? It's the final Pulp.
It's not the strongest effort.
But basically, it's him hastily happy in his life, writing about all the green trees
That's
and
true.
everything. And it's like, as soon as he's not writing from... But I think that's any good
That's
writer
so
generally
good. That's a good quote.
has their set thing they can do very, very well. Like, actually, it's more the average writers that can do a few things, but the really good ones, they can do one thing very, very well. And that's why you get one album by some artists. For example, this is hardcore, a cracking record. Obviously, the previous two are brilliant as well. And then
This is hardcore because that is one which
mate,
does
we
divide.
have discussed.
Let's
We discussed the three Pulp albums
Yeah.
like people discussed the three Star Wars trilogy.
I
mean,
think we should
literally.
really hone in on this now. So I think one of the standpoints of this band is that we do think This Is Hardcore is one of the most... Well, I presume to all follow me in this because we've adapted to each other and we've kind of made each other's dreams one and the same. Making albums like This Is Hardcore is, for me, what I want to do. They are absolutely comical, they're absolutely tragic, they're absolutely eye-opening, and they resonate with you in a way that you think, I've always seen that. And that's not to say that I'm going to go and sing about pornography or I'm going to sing about being alone in a hotel room. The art
We will do
now,
that,
the art now is to find that new ground that hasn't been charted before, where it's the moment you sing about it, someone goes, "Oh my god, that's always been there, and I didn't realise it." That was like that for This Is Hardcore. I remember we used to go out in the early days. We'd go out and play in London, and someone would have to drive back, and we would get lost because we had this sat nav that would tell you to turn left when you're on the motorway, and the only left would be off to sure death. And the thing
Traffic lights that stayed red.
Yeah.
Traffic lights that stayed red for 25 minutes.
And we were really falling apart. And you'd be listening to this album where a man is singing about not being able to make a woman come in bed. You'd be like, this is it. This is that realization of that.
You are hardcore, you make me hard. You name the drama, and I'll play the part. It seems I saw you in some teenage wet dream. I like it, get up if you know what I mean.
I know Jarvis Cocker comes from Sheffield, but it seems like a particularly maybe middle class or white collar frustration, where you're told to do these things which aren't really physical for a long time of the day. And I would like to think that one day we could find that area of frustration which exists in people, and you can't make This Is Hardcore again, and we're not trying to do that, and sometimes maybe we fall into the habit of trying to do that again. We are trying to find an area which is untapped into yet, where there is a frustration amongst people who aren't living a physical life, and they are longing to live a physical life, and that'll be our third album, I think. We'll get on the third album.
Well, we also want to write albums like Different Class and His and Hers as well.
Well, of course.
They're all great, available
No,
in
we
all
want-
great record shops.
No, we
A
want
Different Class, just for the mate, I think is better than This Is Hardcore.
Yeah.
We've had many arguments about that.
I mean, most people would say
fist
that
fights.
hardcore is where a lot of Pulp fans decided to
The
to depart that particular train journey.
We obviously we've always been going back to Pulp. Like Pulp have never existed since we've been anywhere near of age of going to gig. So it's always been a looking back thing. So we didn't have like Different Class and then This Is Hardcore. When we were looking at it, they were all there. His and Hers, Different Class, even We Love Life. Jarvis Cocker's first solo album came out in 2006. I was 16 then, he was like 14. So it's like it's always been going back. So you analyse it differently. It's like a bit like when you find an old band and you look at all their stuff. It's one. I'll go through the Bowie's catalogue. It's like it was all there to start with. So we never had that thing of going from Different Class to This Is Hardcore. You're like, whoa, fucking hell.
Instead of it being Pulp at specific times in their career, you just look at Pulp the band.
It's a bit like Radiohead. I never had that OK Computer to Kid A thing. Like, they were already.
I thank God we didn't.
I love Kid A.
I think the one thread that I certainly hear between Pulp and what Adam and Elvis do is
We make music, don't we? I thought that.
is that you make music. That's the one thing.
So we can say what
Sorry.
Is a sense of Englishness to your delivery, without any of the kind of colloquial, provincial bravado that some other bands do, particularly from the Northwest. I won't mention any bands in particular, but there is everything that I love about English pop, English rock, English art pop. I heard in your set at the George a couple of weeks back when I was at that gig, and I was there to see one of the bands that were on earlier. Friend of mine's playing with them. They just had finished their set. I was in the courtyard area enjoying my pint, and suddenly I heard you guys kick off, and I was chatting to various members of that band, and I quite rudely said, I have to finish this conversation. I need to have a listen to what's going on stage. That doesn't happen to me very often.
Think Bob, everyone loves Think Bob. He's got fingers like a masseuse and the eyes of a hypnotist. But when the world looks to Bob, Bob looks to the ground, ground, ground. Check out the ground, Bob cracks in the pavement, and a voice that calls out, love, love, you can't shut it up. These random rendezvous, they're just not enough. Wait a minute, girl, I can make those ghosts run away. Wait a minute, girl.
And you guys created your own world on stage with chemistry, with tunes, and with the baritone vocal delivery, for one thing. It just cuts through everything like a Vox AC30 amp, and the arrangements are kind of one part jingle jangly, another part kind of pathos and infused with diminished minor chords. I just felt I was on to what Larry Mullen in the film Rattle and Hum called a musical journey.
It's sort of a musical journey, really, you know. No, it's a musical journey.
It's a shit quote, but I'm going to fucking stick to it. I just heard so many retro tinged influences, but the end product that I saw on stage and your sound, and I've been listening to your forthcoming album all week, it's retro tinged, but it's not retrogressive. You guys should be fucking proud.
We worked very hard on it.
That's like a political response. I don't know what I'm
That's
saying.
probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said to us, man. So
That's your manifesto.
Yeah. If you were an attractive woman, I would certainly...
You know,
or an effeminate man at this point.
I'm a little bit pretty. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm slightly hurt now.
go.
I thought we were bonding earlier.
No, well, I mean, that's like... was very nice.
She's a modern art student, I'm a child of literature. I couldn't even meet the eyes of her latest sculpture. Touch my arm and softly say that I can fit it anywhere. But your friends are beautiful, I'm a struggling not to care. Conversation flow. When you blow me, baby, you inflate my ego. Honey girl with one hell of a future, stay in bed with me and you. I'd understand objectively if you leave. Well, I go to the park and hang myself from a
We were talking about Pulp and how they had been an inspiration for you, and I was trying to think of how that thread continues. You don't particularly sound like Pulp. I hear influences.
When we make music, I don't think any of us ever try to make anything. Basically, we make what we naturally make. But because we have a big vast of influences, they all kind of come through in it. Like, what we think we sound like isn't necessarily what we actually sound like. And basically, it just comes out how we did this for a long time. Like, when we first started playing gigs, he wasn't even allowed in the venues. Like, he used to come in later.
That wasn't this band, but we
But it's the same band, basically.
Well, yeah, because me and Tom are brothers and we play in different acts. But I think one of the other things you said, we don't necessarily sing with that. We don't play on the fact that we've got this English...
Actually, half Irish.
Yeah, we're half
Oh,
Irish.
thank you. I'm also a Mick as well, and also I've got my Irish passport, which in these Brexit times...
It's going to happen, though. It's in the
Right,
post.
fair enough. Oh, no wonder we get on.
Yeah. Over the past 2 years, when I was 16, Tom was 18, Tom was 16, I was 14, all that, we became fascinated by the 60s. The 60s was it. We couldn't understand why people we went to school with didn't agree, or we could understand, but rather we couldn't connect with them because they didn't agree that the 60s was clearly this era of musical experimentation. Not only experimentation, but experimentation that coincided with great pop songwriting, and we loved it. We loved the Kinks, we loved the Beatles, we loved also, who else did we love? I'm going blank out of the big two.
Edison Lighthouse.
Yeah, Edison Lighthouse. God, I don't know.
Fifth Dimension.
Yeah, Fifth Dimension.
Is that Fifth Dimension?
Love grows, my rosemary goes. I remember our dad chose that at a very young age. I mean, honestly, I would trade 8 great albums and a documentary made about me on BBC 4 to have written Edison Lighthouse, Love Grows, My Rosemary Goes.
He ain't got no money, her clothes are kind of funny, her hair is kind of wild and free. Oh, but love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me.
we fell in love with that 60s sound. But then over the past 2 years, we've fallen in love with Grandaddy, Pavement, all those typical American.
80s has come way more into it.
Yeah, 80s.
Oh, I'm living in the 80s.
And that thing where singing in that typical English way I won't lie. When I'm singing, I certainly don't go to the microphone without thinking, what am I channeling here? I'm not thinking I've created my own realm of vocal style. I'm thinking, who am I going to channel here?
But there is no... Because people have said this for ages, there's no attempt to be English. That's just how we sound.
That's what I'm saying.
It sounds really organic. It isn't contrived.
Because we incorporated the Englishness very early on with that 60s love at a young age. Now we're no longer trying to sound like these, the Kingston Beatles again. Now that just comes through naturally because it's running in our blood within us because we took it on at such a young early age. Now we're trying to replicate acts like Leonard Cohen and things like that. And
well, I don't think we're trying to replicate anyone.
No, not trying to replicate, sorry, but they're on our mind perhaps more than the Kinks when I'm in that practice room.
Yeah.
And then the English just comes out because it's not forced. It just comes through.
It's what I say. I think when we go together, the influence is all there. I mean, we listen to music. Well, I used to listen to music like intensely. Like when I was younger, like I was really like like I was one of like top set, like you should know every album, every track list, every order, the length of every song. I was one of those people that really just was completely obsessed with my teenage, early 20s years. Now all that stuff kind of is there. So I mean, I don't listen to music. Well, I used to listen to music like intensely because it's very hard to have an actual general life if you listen to music the way I used to listen to music. It was it was obsession.
A music addict.
Yeah, well, basically, I used to be really like obsessed, like just seeing it everywhere I went, kind of thing. But now we've got so many different influences, and me and Patrick, we've had a lot of different. This band, Adam Elvis, had a lot of different people with us. But now we have a really good guitarist, good key player, good drummer. So the band's actually, for the first time in years, been a real tight unit kind of thing. So it's like,
which came across on the night.
Live now, the performances are so much. We used to try and do it ourselves because people keep letting us down.
Well, let's go. We went on. We did a small tour, and we went to. A small tour. We went to London, Reading, Liverpool, and Leeds, and our drummer
long drive.
Tom drove all of it, and we had to fire the drummer before because he was no good.
Can anybody play the drums?
And we had to end up playing it with a drum machine coming through. And the thing was that we had Dan and Steve of us there for that. And I mean, these shows were a shambles and beautiful one at the same time. But for anyone who was willing to stay with us after that, it became clear that they weren't, fair weather members. And so I think what we've got now are people who are willing to stick, however cheesy it sounds, through the tough bits and the good bits and whatever. And what you actually get from that isn't just someone who's, used to getting, a bad reception of it. You get someone who's actually used to adapting and playing around, feedback people get. And so we've got guitarists and keyboard players now who have adapted to what people say. And we've actually changed a lot as a band. And we were malleable at first. And now what's happened is we've solidified into a way we actually quite like.
I think sometimes it takes those really difficult tours to filter out the people who are passionate or not.
Oh yeah, it did, and that gig did it. At the end of it, we came back as basically
the drum machine tour.
Well, no, honestly, you joke. We did. That was the drum machine tour.
It was, actually, we played in Liverpool.
We tried to do it.
We went to Liverpool, and I remember playing in Liverpool actually because I remember we got there and there was a very small space. We're like, okay, first of all, this isn't going to be brilliant.
Which venue?
Jacaranda. It had a record store.
Drinking my beer.
It had a record store upstairs, right? And we knew that Tom had to drive home for about 4 hours afterwards. And we just played Leeds. Leeds turned out to be okay. I mean, we played to about 6 people, and about 30% of the crowd liked it. And
they love it. They
yeah,
really love it.
Yes, they do.
They keep
word of mouth.
Yeah,
especially with Yorkshiremen and women.
Yeah. And we went and set up our instruments and everything. Well, where's the soundman? The soundman isn't here. So I think everything was in place for this to be a terrible show. And so we went out and we had some Caribbean food. I remember sitting there, nursing my beer, thinking, I don't think we're going to make it through this. I don't think we're going to make it through a terrible gig, firing a drummer and then driving him for 4 hours. This is going to be the end of it. This is going to be an absolute, not a shattering, smouldering end to it. This is going to be a flaccid, whimpering, that was it. 5 years, that was it. And we got to the venue. There's still no one there. And so we set up, and the drum machine wasn't working. And we thought, do you know what? Sod it. Let's just play. We'll just start playing these songs without the drum machine and see how it goes. Did the whole sound check thing. A few notes ringing out. People started coming down. Started pouring down. There's people there. There's people everywhere. I think, there's actually a crowd. Let's go for it. And we played through these songs without a drum machine. And Steve, the keyboard player at the time, just picked up a tambourine and started playing in time. And it becomes aware to you how zany the stuff we're actually playing is when you're playing without a drum. You think, actually, every other band that's probably coming in I'm not boasting now. Every other band that's probably coming in for the past 2 weeks or so hasn't played these kind of discordant, weird bits. And I was dancing around the crowd. Tom was really, half funk bass, half stranglers bass. And it was really a hybrid thing. And after that, people were cheering and people come upstairs buying us drinks saying, you sound like the Talking Heads, you sound like this. One person would say you sound like the Talking Heads. One person would say you sound like, Jeff Buckley. All this abundance of things. You think, actually, do you know what? Maybe we've stumbled across something. Maybe those evenings where we sat around saying, we're going to sound like this, we should try and sound like this, wasn't it. Maybe by getting in a car and driving around the country, you find that actually your characteristics as individuals is what makes something coherent and makes sense and makes something necessary. And after that, we were driving back. I got too excited and drank too many espresso, so I couldn't sleep for
I was going to tell basically Patchett. So it was a 4.5 hour drive home. Patchett waited until we were 45 minutes away from home and had a triple espresso.
Well, I was scared he was going to fall asleep at the wheel.
And then I saw him. We got back. Well, I saw him the next day. After literally no sleep. I saw him the next day. I was like, "How was he?" He goes, "I haven't slept. I haven't slept at all."
That's a side note to the point that essentially, we can like Billy Joel, we can like the Beatles and all these big characters, but essentially, we are a garage band in form. Our ideas form through the necessity of spending time together. I think.
Okay, yeah.
We write songs away from the rooms, but they take shape when we're in rooms together, I think.
Don't buy into Jesus Christ. There's no such thing as the afterlife. That I'll never see. It's just another reason to pour a drink and sing. And sing. You tell me I'm beyond my years. That's really not what I want to hear. And I swear to you, sweet listener, I'm not apocalyptic mood killer tonight. Wasting away your one life, wasting away all your time. You are throwing away your one chance. You're drowning it in the bath. If I should die on my birthday, I must insist you cancel the party. Pop balloons, return the gifts. I pray you catch your full receipts.
The sad reality is that horrible experiences that you have on the road become the most entertaining from a banter point.
You're aware how lucky you are when you're stuck in a car, just playing, even a gig to 5 or 10 people. You're aware it's better than just stacking shelves night in, night out. So it's good to have some kind of creative output that obviously you inherit from middle class parents. But
you were saying just earlier that the arrangements and the gestation of these tracks, didn't come overnight. They're the result of you all spending a lot of time together working on them in the studio.
Well, one of the things that was really interesting about it was that when the album is produced by Tom, entirely produced by Tom. Tom is the only one who knows how to turn a sound desk on, and then there's an abundance of things on top of that. And the rest of us are not only do we not know how to turn the sound desk on, we don't know how to turn the sound desk on or try to turn the sound desk on without starting a fire. All that. We really are illiterate with sound desks and that stuff. And so when we started making demos for the album, I would play a lot of the hooks on keyboards and things like that. And then it just sounds like I'm not a keyboard player. And so what we did is we played together in this live room for ages, went off on this shambolic Tin Pot tour, came back, and Tom was saying, actually, even though you've written these parts, let Steve play it, let's get that room sound to it. And so I think a lot of it, well, all of it really, without sounding too arrogant, apart from some licks that are added by Dan, is written by me and Tom. we're the ones who sit at home in rooms writing these songs, coming up with the ideas, what they're about, and then what we've tried to do now is capture the atmosphere where we're all playing them together, because people actually play them with their own natural spin on them.
When we started this album, the other 3 members weren't in this band. We started this album with another 3 members, and they went and we recorded a lot of the stuff with old members. So basically it was me and Patrick in a room with basically Patrick coming up with things on keyboards, and we were adding random shit like to it, and we kind of had the album done in a sort of way. But then once Dan and Steve were in, it was kind of we started playing live. We're like, oh, this guy, because Dan's like a really good lead guitarist, so like, let's get him playing some of the lead guitar. So we've re-recorded bits of the songs over and over again. It's kind of why it's taken so long. Also, I've learned a lot while doing it. Like at first I was trying to make this massive kind of huge production, which I then realised was not really what we wanted. We needed a more kind of raw thing, so we went back and reproduced it in that way.
I've come up with a metaphor to sum up Tom's hard work on learning how to produce, where he goes,
give it to me.
I think we tried to build a boat out of the raft when we went out to sea on.
Ooh.
So we went out to sea with nothing, and then we said, Tom, right, build it up whilst we're already in the midst of making the album.
I mean, yeah.
Nice. Fuck you, T.S. Eliot.
Is that
I mean, he's still not.
He was a
I mean,
banker.
Yeah, he's a wanker. I think you mispronounced that.
It works on that album, you know what I mean? But like, next album I'd produce it.
You want more than the metaphor for the next album?
Slightly differently, yeah. Well, next will be a yacht. I don't know. It's like it works for it, but like I was going into it not knowing what I was doing on a lot of it, so I've learned a lot from doing it.
I think there's a beauty in that, because it, instead of being contrived, it's very immediate. You're in the zone.
I mean, that basic album is written by us, played by us. There is no one else has had any input in that. That whole entire thing is us. There is no one else has had any input on the album.
I mean, the weird thing is that it's quite organic and seamless through and through. Drums sound like drums. It sounds like people in a room making music, rather than I've got 8 bars of this, I'm going to chop it up, and motherfucker, I'm going to paste that cunt over.
It's funny you say there is a lot of pasting
on.
Because the original drummer did fuck up a lot of shit, and I had to sort
then
it out.
You've edited it very well.
I think this is the art of it. I think the fact is we had a drummer who was quite frankly shit, and he was, and Tom had to then take his recordings and make them something good, which did involve a bit of Victor Frankenstein editing, and then I think the fact that he's Tom has created something organic or organic sounding is promising for us, but scary for the state of human perception on what is real and what is not.
Hey, again, all
Are you having a go?
All albums like that.
No, you no, no.
Do you think there's any auto-tune on that album?
I couldn't hear any.
There fucking is, boy. I'll tell you that.
Really?
Some of those songs are tuned to shit. To be fair, Pat has had a few singing lessons since. He's a lot better now.
Yeah, we are.
The funny thing is, when we made that album, we made the bass of the album. We were not the performance we are now. We were not the band. Patrick was only recently become the lead singer. We didn't used to have a front man. We weren't really sure what we were doing. It's only about a year or two since we've really known the setup of the band. Well, mate, I was the lead singer for about 3 years in the band. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, no, that's it.
We were working on it. We've taken. Have you seen Do You Want to My Bush?
Yes.
You know the one where they're finding the sound?
Yeah.
It was like that.
Open your mind. Let us begin our quest to find the new sound.
We were going around our metal detector.
We were in the desert, but we stopped off at the odd green.
We didn't rob anything. We didn't rob anything of Santana.
Are you sure?
We didn't rob anything from Santana. No one had 8 dicks, but we still did. Like that was it. We were looking for it for ages.
I mean, in a way, it's a bit like your bass playing. I read an interview where you were a bit disparaging about how you came to be a bass player in the band, and it was a bit like.
But then I heard the Stranglers, and I've changed my whole outlook.
But JJ from the Stranglers, the immediacy of those bass lines and that aggressive sound is a big
like,
beauty.
If you're an arrogant narcissist who's a bassist, that's the way you gotta go, really, because the bass is generally an instrument fine in the background, but it's like that kind of way of playing. It's like, well, actually, I'm at the forefront of it, because basically you have you up the you've got the treble really high.
Absolutely.
So you basically you take it, you say get rid of rhythm guitar, no more. You just you cut through with everything. Your frequency spectrum's massive when you're playing that kind of bass, because you have it's not on that record because I hadn't quite discovered how much I wanted to play disgusting dirty bass on that album.
We had rhythm guitar, didn't we? So yeah. But we're not going to... For the second album, it's going to be more refined in the sense that at the moment it feels like it's going to be more refined. It might change a million miles per hour, but it's going to be much more based on Tom's all that stuff he said about music stuff that I understand.
On the track Cruel as Winter, the bass is
that's
prominent.
That's the one song where that is the bass sound that I want to get in more of it. That song. That is the bass song on the album. That is the it's about a minute and a half bass before
I've lived with this album since you sent me the link, and it's...
What's your favourite song?
It's been a long while since I've listened to an album where it all feels like it's part of a family. Normally there's
my biggest fear was that it wouldn't sound like it was a family. It would sound like a lot of needy children wanting to be loved. Apart from Cruel as Winter, actually. Cruel as Winter.
I'm talking
about my biggest fear. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying it's my biggest fear.
I was more concerned about the fact that it wasn't going to sound like it fit. Like there was too many different genres in that or something.
No. I would say, if anything, it sounds like my biggest one for this band, this album, sorry, is that it will reignite a love for the potential for pub bands, like the way the Stranglers did. You could imagine walking into a pub and seeing the Stranglers playing No More Heroes. Things like that. Like, I don't mean like a small venue. I mean a small pub where they're playing in the back room. There's a pool table outside, and a lot of the time we spent working on songs has been in pubs. And I think some of it can be quite abstract at times, but at the same time it is almost desperately like I think Pulp is good and Pulp is bad in the fact that it is quite needy lyrically, and in the structure of the songs that it always arrives at a big chorus, it always arrives on a big... It's written to be played on a Friday and Saturday. That album is very much written under the knowledge that we are going to be touring on Friday and Saturdays when we can. It's not going to be played on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Please may I have a kiss? What the hell do you think I'm dancing for? I'm not in for the modern hits. Yeah, oh yeah, 21st century hits. Watching them step to the aisle for me, I was trying to feel something. Yeah, oh yeah.
Will penalties be levied? Were those songs to be played on a Monday or Tuesday?
That's good.
If they're played by others, then yes, but we could nail them on a Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
But I would send out a group email advising people to their next day off work.
Please do not attend this gig.
No, attend the gig, but book their next day off work.
You are going to be recovering the next day. Work is simply not going to be an option.
I will make you breakfast.
Really, what kind of breakfast would you make? What is...
I would...
Your breakfast of choice?
McDonald's. I'll drive the drive-through, get low Mackies in.
I would look what's in your cupboard and then, mix it with
jam.
Jam.
Jam. You can never go wrong with jam.
Jam and toast.
Yeah.
Weirdly, despite the fact that you are making it sound like a Frankenstein with Cohen at the helm, to me it sounds like you guys.
Well, that's the thing. The thing is, what we like. This is the thing. We don't think when we make it.
We didn't ever sit down together and laid out an album. What happened was when we decided after having we had about 15 songs we thought okay, and we thought Jesus Christ, our hair's getting thinner. Let's make an album quickly.
I've lost a few more hairs. I think I'm going bald. I think I'm going bald.
And then we started to write down notes when we were in the pub and saying maybe we could make an album. Or no, actually, we've always known we want to make an album, but I'll go on too long if I start talking about that. And then the idea of this Cohen and Bukowski thing, that was when people started talking about us and interviewing us. Right? They said, "What do you like?" And I like Cohen, and at the time I like Bukowski. I'm starting to distance myself from it. And it was never written in the style of saying, "Let's write this album." So then when people ask us what we sound like, we'll say Cohen, Bukowski. We like an abundance of things. We it's like Jack Kerouac on the road if it wasn't shit. It's writing as we go along. It's just, soaking up what takes our fancy. A lot of the time what takes our fancy is stuff from the past and stuff from the present. So it's very hybrid. But it was never written so that people would say, hey, have you heard Leonard Cohen? If you like Leonard Cohen, you'd like this lot. It was written in a way that we can't afford therapy, so we thought we'd make an album, basically. It was
The high cost of therapy leads to creative excellence.
Well, if you say excellence, then I'll put that on the album
but
cover.
also, I mean, all bullshit aside, man. We do like great tunes. There's things. It's they're catchy. It's mainly good.
The songs are king
good,
with you guys.
It's a good fucking record. That's the idea.
Yeah.
It's a good pop record. It's a record you turn and you think,
a pop record.
You can say, oh, read this into it. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is, you put it on one of those albums, you think, this is fucking fat, actually. This is sick. You know what I mean? It's like, there's not really, what we think, and I mean, we change our mind every minute of the day about what it's meant to be, what it
pop.
is.
It's always pop. You're right. It's always pop.
But when we're in the room making music, we're not thinking anything other than this would be sick. Let's try that. That'd be cool. That'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's the word contrived did not come to mind at all. It does. It sounds organic.
But that comes naturally.
No, but
you're not thinking that's got to be pop.
Sometimes I think we have had conversations in the room where we said, oh, we can make that outro 4 minutes. We go, no, we agree with the cage,
but we're still not fighting. We're not still with the blueprint.
No, not certainly true, but it's certainly the song length. Maybe at the moment we do.
But
still
that's not an actual a thing that happens. That's just happened without us realising it's happening.
Because
we know what we like.
Yeah, we know what we like. Yeah, and that is part of realising.
There's no point every time you go, right, I can't do that because that's not pop. We've never said that. We've never done. We just do it because you think that would be cool.
We've cut songs shorter.
Because but not because it says pop. Because you think that song should be shorter.
Yeah, because we love pop.
No, but we don't say that. We don't.
But we are aware that is our tribe.
Yeah, but pop. Dark Side of the Moon's pop as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
Dark Side of the Moon never goes on for too long.
Yeah, but it's still 8-minute songs on it.
Yeah, but that's true.
My point is that it is not
textual interludes feature with Pink Floyd.
Think it. It's not a tangible thing. It just.
No, but we are aware we couldn't make Dark Side of the Moon. We are aware.
We're not thinking that when we're in the fucking studio.
I think we are.
Well, I'm not.
You think you could make?
No, I don't think. When I'm making music, I don't think about what I'm doing. I just think about that would be cool. Let's make this.
It's not on the. It's not the main part of your brain activity, but it is there.
I think that attention spans have changed since 1973 when Dark Side of the Moon was made, and you may look at that as something which you respectively hold dear, but how you approach stuff now is with the 2016, 2017 approach of what keeps your attention together.
But it's just because what I like is that kind of music. I prefer Sid Barrett era Pink Floyd because I like I think putting incredible amount of pop sensibility within 3.5 minutes with no fat is brilliant. Pixies did that. It's all about that. That's the way I think. Like that's the way we think. It's not about thinking, let's not make it too long for the. We got songs on like The Artist on the album. That's nearly 6 minutes long.
It genuinely doesn't feel it.
No, but it is. It's a longer song, but it's still.
It's quite an emotive song. The idea of kind of somebody who's only an artist at weekends and everything. It's a lot of people can certainly sympathise, empathise, touch thighs based on that.
I'm an artist. On the weekend, baby, I'm an artist. You go tell all your friends, all your friends. And I'm a lover. I'm a lover of things. In a palace full of nobodies, you could be my squeeze. Come on and be my squeeze.
I detect a bit of sensitivity about how you think about things in advance and blueprints, and that isn't the case, nor does that on a personal level interest me. It's the bottom line is the album sounds really organic. Normally when I listen to an album from beginning to end, which is a rare thing to do these days for a new release.
Definitely.
When was the last time I actually got an album that is recent where I sat down and listened to it. I made my tea and just enjoyed the moment. The thing is, when I've had to do that recently with some bands, I have come across filler where I've looked, on the CD player or iTunes, and I've been mindful of how many minutes of a song are left. I don't like being that person, and I wasn't that person with your album at all. Nothing felt laborious. The whole experience passed very quickly because the album's really fucking good. Now, how you guys rationalise how you came across the right way to approach things is your own business. I think it works. I do have one issue, though, and this is a big issue, and this is maybe where shit may hit the fan. Now, I came across an interview in which you guys had promised, and I think this was in autumn or late 2016, and I understand that there was a song that was going to be called The Ballad of Britney Spears.
That's on it.
That's
track 5. He got renamed.
He made me change.
I didn't know that. He got renamed.
He made me change the name. Tom, I'm pointing at Tom. Made me change the name, and the rest of them.
It didn't fit. It didn't fit with the whole album's quite like human and like it's not. There's not really set in a kind of psychedelic. It's all very down to earth kind of day to day life kind of thing. Ballad of Britney Spears, the name makes no sense on that record. So it just got called Snow Talk.
Obviously, it was a title that you enjoyed at that time, and it resonated with you.
Title.
It resonated with you.
I think the downfall of Britney Spears is absolutely what Tom was saying and not being human. I think we've taken away a lot of the human factors of it. I think
he didn't say that at times.
No,
there was no.
It's hard to speak up when Himmler, Goebbels, and the rest of them are chanting at you. But
I think
Spears. I think part of the Britney Spears' downfall was that apparently, not apparently. So she certainly appeared human for a short while, and that was it. Record sales plummeted when she wasn't caught on camera appearing, perfectly with makeup, perfectly, symmetrical facial-wise. She had a child, was with the father rather than the mother, which is total taboo in American culture. I thought it was very exciting to have a song that was just played out aggressively towards that demise, and especially when it's played by a bunch of men, because you don't know where you stand with that.
I didn't call it Snow Talk. I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of this, because a lot of stuff I say he doesn't go with. So this is we both changed that. It was not I said it and patch it.
No, I think it's understood that I wanted to call it Ballad of Britney Spears.
That debate never happened.
It did.
The tension in the room is palpable.
I said I wanted to call it Ballad of Britney Spears.
I don't remember the argument.
Remember you? It was an argument. It was discussed in the room.
You called it Snow Talk.
Yeah, because
I remember you agree with me pretty vividly about saying that, and you said yes, got Snow Talk.
Yeah,
but you never said I want to call it that.
All right, let's move on.
Because you happily say if you don't agree with me.
Yeah, I did agree with it. It's the fact that there was others people agreeing with you.
Who were there?
Steve and Dan and the rest of them.
Nah, it was me and you when we had the debate.
It wasn't. Steve was there.
Now, the band's moniker apparently was inspired by Pat studying the Bible. Does that mean that theology has featured heavily in your
No, not at all. No, none of that Father John Misty, Leonard Cohen nonsense. Bible's redundant these days. I think people now who try and have biblical imagery in there are just lazy. That's completely in Western England. Well, no, that's just no. I think that's people who wanting to pick on an easy target. I mean, Frankie Ball was talking the other day, attacking people who make fun of religion. I'm all for that. I think now it's so redundant. Leave it alone. Let's attack capitalism. But at the time when I was studying that at university, there was the big push for the gay marriage thing, and I thought it would be quite fitting. I put this forward in a bunch of band names. I thought Adam and Elvis rather than Adam and Eve, because that'd be quite funny, because we were trying to get, not me personally, they were trying to get gay marriage. Yeah,
fair enough. No, absolutely.
I regret it now.
But the name works. The one thing that is proof in the pudding is that when you're at a music venue and there are loads of bands on the bill, and you hear people mumble their name, their collective name on stage, it's really easy to forget it by the time the next band is on. I remembered your band's name. It stuck out, the uniqueness of it.
That's good. That's one of the most important things. I work at a studio in Reading, and a lot of bands come up to me with their band names, and you're like, sorry, what? They come up with like these ridiculous names, which are just like, well, it's just a mumbo jumbo. You think, well, how am I meant to remember that? Well, in a way, I mean, basically all it is a title to find it. You know what I mean? It's like the band name's really irrelevant in the whole thing. The band name has absolutely nothing to do with the music that's been made by it. It's quite catchy. It's a bit weird, but it kind of works. because it is a kind of, it is a bit like, wait, what's going on there?
It's quirky, and so is the music. And
Yeah.
even if you've grown tired of the name, people who hear you for the first time, that's what they'll know you as. And the quirkiness of the name will soon just become
Well, that's it.
a brand.
The name eventually becomes the thing. Just that any band that you like, you never think about. You never think, "Oh, the Beatles is a terrible name." Because
It is a bad name.
It is a
It is,
terrible
it's
name.
an
Isn't
awful
it?
name.
Yeah.
That is quite horrible as
it
well.
is. It's atrocious.
It's an anti-name.
Yeah,
It's a name
the
before
music,
it's
the
a name,
sound.
It's
It's
a
awful names.
It's a name before the digital age as well. Now you've got to search something. Now you've got to be aware that if you search something, it's got to be unique and found. So you can't call yourself, or what's a famous film? You can't call yourself Suicide Squad now because you won't come over the top of the Google list.
No.
You'll get mixed up with terrible reviews.
I mean, it does help having a name that begins with A in terms of where
definitely
you
does.
are in the catalogue listings.
I was like, we're first on that
We're headlining that
festival.
festival.
Oh no, we're not. We're just alphabetical order. We're on the bottom stage.
When the album comes out on the 30th of September 2017, where can people click and purchase?
Okay, so first of all, 30th September, first thing you should do is come down to Oakford Social Club in Reading because that's where we're having the launch party. You can buy a CD, potentially a vinyl there. I don't know what. I haven't been to the Dragon's Den yet. I don't know what they're going to be willing to offer. To go and buy, just go on Facebook and do some research. I don't know, to be honest. Just go online.
Spotify, it'll be there. Stream it. It'll be there on Spotify if you want to
You
stream
can buy
it.
if you message us on Facebook. I'll
iTunes.
send you a copy.
iTunes, SoundCloud, all of them. Any of them. They're literally the same place that everyone else have released a record. It's on all of them.
Yeah.
I put it up. It's
If you
basically-
really like
it's a-
it, you'll do some research.
No, you don't forget that. You don't have to do any research. Basically, we put it on the same thing that every other record you buy is on. Either you come to the gig, you buy the CD, or download it on iTunes, you stream it on Spotify, you stream it on Tidal, you stream it on any of those. It's on all of them. I put it up. I click the boxes. It's on every single thing that you can buy a record on.
If it's available digitally, you're going to be on that bad boy.
Basically, it's gonna be on there. Don't go into HMV hoping to find it. You're not going to find it. But
Can you find an HMV for that matter?
no, you can't find HMV.
Indeed. Don't go looking for it. It's not
Don't
there
go to
anymore.
HMV.
Don't go to HMV. Never
Don't
go to
HMV. Don't go to
HMV.
HMV unless you're looking for anything before 1994.
You don't need another DVD box
But
set.
on the internet, the way you buy any of your new band's records, it's there. It's there. It will be there.
And how can people
For
link up with you on the Book of Face?
www.facebook.com/Adam and Elvis. Which basically, but if you're on Facebook anyway, I think you have to be on Facebook anyway to go on Facebook. So, and I think most people have Facebook anyway. But if you type in Adam and Elvis, it'll be. I can tell you, there's no other Adam and Elvises. We're not one of the many Adam and Elvises out there.
Hey, I've called my band this. You guys are assholes.
We're the only Adam and Elvis. It's done the same way everyone else does it. It's there. I mean, you look anywhere, Google it. It's there.
There.
Yeah.
Listen, the people out there, they're intelligent. They search for things all the time.
Yeah, that's it.
They're going to be able to find this shit. It's fine.
It's there.
It's all good.
It's all good.
We are organising a festival through our own DIY Freak Power Records label. It's called Austerity Festival. We've got the Pin-Ups. We've got Pit Ponies off the same record label as Meat Raffle and Fat Family. We've got Secret Tongues. We've got us. We've got Varna, who are the best band in the world right now. And we've got 3 Mile Island. And we've got political talks. We've got we've got a lecture that's going to be spread out in 3 segments. The opening sentiment will be said at the start of the day. Then at 5 p.m, the middle of the lecture will be delivered. And then before the final act, the conclusion of the essay on austerity will be delivered. There'll be poets throughout it. There'll be Schizophonica DJ who'll be playing, who you know if you've seen George Tavern. It's £3 because it's an austerity festival. Every penny from it goes to the bands and their drug habits.
Fair enough. And this is all happening at the New Cross Inn in the heart of South London.
All the money goes to the bands.
Yeah.
Oh. What's the austerity? Is it just about a festival? Oh, okay.
It's just we live in a time of austerity, and that's why you need to support bands, because
not a charity
entertainment is important. And that's New Cross Inn, which is a stop on the Ginger Line, also known as the Overground. That's on the 19th of August. Summer will be well underway. And what time does that all kick off?
Midday till 2 a.m.
I mean, £3.
For 3, exactly. It's austerity, that, isn't it?
And New Cross Inn is a nice venue.
It's a nice
the
venue.
bar staff are nice.
And it's 80%. It's 20% off drinks before 8 p.m.
bring it on. So you need to arrive early.
You need to arrive. Right. Oh, and I forgot Purple Implosion. Purple Implosion are on very early, and they are better than Elton John.
Right.
Not better than Varna, but they're good.
Guys, thank you very much for gracing the Dukey Radio Show studios with your presence.
Thank you for having us. I feel much better inside now.
So do you feel less doubtful?
No, but I feel happier about going out into the greater world for the time being.
Lovely. What about your wretchedness?
I never felt wretched to begin with, man. I feel
It was just your favourite word.
There's a word. You asked me for a word. I jumped. I grabbed. I reached out and I grabbed that wretchedness. I don't know. I'm a half glass, half empty guy. I'm actually not. I'm pretty good actually.
Excellent.
We're all pretty good.
Excellent. Well, that is indeed your lot. Pat and Tom Malone, two incredibly funny, driven and talented individuals. It was an absolute joy to have them on the Dukey Radio Show. Make sure that you put the 30th of September in your respective diaries, or if it's the future, go back to 30/09/17 and get your hands on their soon-to-be-released album, Through Snow and Small Talk, available at all good and indeed bad digital retailers on Planet Virtual. You've been listening to our interview with Adam and Elvis. My name is Dukey and I've been your host. Until next time, may the worst of tomorrow be the best of yesterday. Now it's time for me to go and pop my weasel. Donk shame for listening.
Half a pound of tuppenny rice, half a pound of treacle. That's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel.
Facebook. Click on your mouse to our Facebook page. Facebook. It's easy to find, it will not take an age. Facebook. www.facebook.com/. The Dukey Radio Show, the Dukey Radio Show. The thin white Dukey is right. Click your way to the Dukey Radio Show Facebook page. www.facebook.com/The Dukey Radio Show. The Dukey Radio Show, the Dukey Radio Show.
Please may I have the keys? What the hell do you think I'm doting for? I'm looking for the modern AIDS. Yes, oh yes, oh yes.